Hey guys, welcome to my newest video for today. For today's video I'm going to be doing my DVD Blu-ray update for July 2019. As always, I have a decent sized stack here to go through. Most of them come from Sanity, but I have a couple of Amazon purchases as well as some from JB Hi-Fi, so I'm just going to get straight into it. And starting off with the TV shows, the first two are from Sanity. They were a 2 for $40 deal. So I picked up Castle season 6. This is a show that I've been meaning to finish off collecting because I stopped at season 5. I have since seen all the episodes of Castle, like I was watching it, or at least the later seasons I was watching as it aired. So I wanted to finish out collecting the show because I've been feeling like a rewatch like one of these days, so I thought if I've got all the seasons then I can sit down and start like rewatching it, so because it's been a few years since I've seen the show. So I did pick up Castle season 6, and I also got Counterpart season 1. Sadly this was the show got cancelled after 2 seasons, but this was a very underrated sci-fi parallel dimension show starring J.K. Simmons, who was fantastic in this. It was very reminiscent of Fringe, if I could find a comparison, because I finished watching Fringe and then I actually started watching Counterpart, and I was like, oh, this is giving me so many like Fringe vibes. Even though, to be honest, most of the similarities end because they can cross over into the different dimensions. But yeah, this was a really like interesting like parallel dimension show, and yeah, it's sort of sucks it got cancelled, but I don't think it did that well in the ratings because I don't think hardly anyone knew about this show. But I thought it was a solid like sci-fi drama thing, so picked up season 1. And then to add to my Marvel TV collection, I got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season 5. I'm more or less caught up on this. I've just got one episode left of season 6 to watch, and then I'm caught up. So because I heard this, I saw the announcement that it's actually going to end with season 7, which is kind of sad because like even though I did sort of fall behind a bit, but I've been watching this show basically since the beginning, so but I suppose at least it gets to end on its own terms rather than just get, you know, abruptly cancelled. But yeah, I do still enjoy this show, and yeah, sort of, and I did, for the most part, I enjoyed season 5. I think I preferred the first half when they're in space in the future. I preferred that storyline more than the second half of it, but you know, I still enjoyed this show, and yeah, like I like the cast, and yeah, so I wanted to go ahead and get season 5 because technically this arrived at the end of June, but I'd already filmed my June like update at that point, and I was like, I'll just put it in July's update. So because it was down to, I believe, because I got this one from Amazon, it was like $23. It was like really cheap for like a like for the show, so I thought, you know what, I'll just grab it at that price. So got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season 5. And then this was sort of my trial of ordering through the global store on Amazon Australia, because I don't know like how common knowledge this is, because basically because our government sucks, and that's me being trying not to be political, but yeah, that's basically summing up my feelings on the whole situation. They added a GST to online shopping, and Amazon decided to go, you know, screw you, we're not delivering from our international stores anymore. So the only way we can get titles from Amazon is if we do it through the global store, and not all the titles like are actually available through there. So I mean, I do tend to stick to the Australian releases because unless it's something that I really want that's like, say, that didn't get a Blu-ray release here, But this show is actually one that I watched earlier this year. It was on, I watched it via Foxtel streaming, and it was John Adams. This is the HBO miniseries that aired about 10 years ago, and this was fantastic. I know it's not entirely historically accurate, but I just thought it was so well acted. Like, Paul Giamatti was fantastic as John Adams, and because this has sort of been a title that I've been interested in watching, but I sort of like never got round to it. Like, I didn't have it available to watch, and I didn't actually realise Tom Hooper directed this miniseries. Like, this was before he did Les Mis, and obviously he's now directing Cats at the which is coming out at the end of the year. And yeah, it was because each episode, because this is only like I think 7 parts to it, so yeah, then like they range from an hour like say an hour 10 to an hour and a half, so like it's quite well detailed, and it covers specific parts of John Adams' life, like from when he got involved in the Revolutionary War effort to getting independence, and then like serving overseas as ambassador, that kind of thing. And yeah, it was just really fantastic, even though it was a bit more graphic than what I was expecting, because the first episode I was like, oh yeah, I'll watch this and see what it's like, and then like halfway through there's quite a brutal tar and feather scene, and I'm like, okay. But yeah, this was just a really fantastic show, and I wanted it in my collection, and yeah, said it was really only available through the to get it from the US, so this is region free, so it's in a nice like embossed like case, so yeah, so I'm sort of happy to add this one to the collection. So that is John Adams. And so those were the TV shows that I picked up, and now I do have one DVD movie. It was a title I didn't mind just having on DVD, so because sometimes I'm not that picky whether it's Blu-ray or DVD, but obviously if it's on Blu-ray then I'd try and get the Blu-ray, but in this case this one only came out on DVD here in Australia, so and that was Ingrid Goes West. I was actually quite pleasantly surprised by this. I wasn't too sure what to expect, because I had been hearing very mixed things about this movie, but I liked both the actors, like Aubrey Plaza and Elizabeth Olsen, and I thought they worked really well together, and it's sort of an interesting take on the, I guess, dramas of social media fame, and like sort of how you sort of it was like an interesting commentary that you don't always, what you portray online is not you sort of portray it to be popular and that, and it's not who you actually are. And yeah, I thought it had it's quite interesting, and yeah, I wanted to add it to the collection. So that's Ingrid Goes West. And then I actually did pick up a few blind buys, because these ones are from JB Hi-Fi, because they were having a buy 2 get 1 free, and I wanted to basically pick up some movies like more recent, or one of them's not a recent title, but most of them are like from within the last year, and basically I wanted them because we don't have the best internet at the moment, and I wanted to just have the physical copies or like available, and I didn't pay that much money for them, so I was like, well, so like if I don't actually like it, I'm not gonna be super upset about it, but I mean, hopefully I do like these movies. So the first one that I have is the one that's not a recent release. It's like from like 6 years ago, and it's one I've been meaning to watch, but I just never got around to it, and that was Pain and Gain. This was Michael Bay film, that it's one of the few of his that I haven't seen, so I've kind of been interested in this because of the cast, but yeah, it looks like it could be an interesting like action film, so yeah, went ahead and picked it up, so that's Pain and Gain. And then I got How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World. I still haven't seen this. I never got around to it at the cinema, and I have seen the first two. I don't actually own the second one, so I need to get around to picking that one up for the collection. But since this was part of the deal, I just decided to go ahead and grab it while it was a decent price. So yes, that's How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World. And then this one I don't really know too much about, but I think this would be a film that I would be interested in. So I got Stan and Ollie, because I remember when this one came out and I was interested in seeing it, but again, I just never got around to it, because sort of my like my cinema going this year has just been all over the place. Like some days I'm like, I want to see all the movies, and then others I'm like, I don't really need to go see it at the cinema. So yeah, it's sort of been a bit weird in terms of that, but this is sort of one of them that was a title I was interested in, and my cinema actually got it, but I just, yeah, as I said, never got around to it. So decided to pick it up and see what it was like. So that one. And yeah, this one I don't think it came to my cinema, but I like period dramas and I like Keira Knightley, so I got Colette. I don't really know too much, again, don't really know too much about this, but yeah, it's seems interesting. So it's sort of, so I think it's basically she writes her husband's novels and she wants recognition for it. I think that's basically the gist of the story. But so I actually watched what was that film, The Duchess, a couple of months ago with Keira Knightley, and yeah, so I like as I said, I like period dramas, and well, for the most part there have been a couple recently that I've seen that I haven't like really liked that much, but yeah, I do tend to enjoy them though. So yeah, that's, and I think I'll like this one hopefully. So that's Colette. And then I got this, the last two of the blind buys in this stack here I got was from this year's Best Picture winner, and that is Green Book. So I'm very curious to see what I think of this, because yeah, it's been quite, I know it's been quite controversial. Not everyone, well, just suppose it's every year, like not everyone agrees with the Best Picture winner, but so I don't think there's been a year where everyone's like, yes, I'm glad that, like there's been a universal, like, yes, I'm glad that movie won. So I still have a couple of this year's Best Picture nominees to see. So I think I've still got Roma, which I know I should have seen it already because it's on Netflix, but I haven't got around to it. It's and I still have to see Black Klansman, which I do have, and then obviously I've got Green Book. So, and then I can decide which one is the one that I would have, you know, if I agree with the winner, or you know, if I think something else should have won. So yeah, I'm very curious to see what I think of that. So those were the blind buys that I picked up yesterday, so I'm looking forward to checking those out. And then the next stack here are from Sanity. So I have these were part of a 3 for $30 deal with Ingrid Goes West. So I did pick up Creed. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I actually haven't seen any of the Rocky movies. I've only seen Creed, which I thought was actually a really good film. And I still need to see Creed 2, which I do want to see, but I just haven't got around to it yet. So it's got that. And then the other one is a film I watched a couple of years ago, I think, or last year. It was Train to Busan, which is a South Korean zombie horror film. I'm gonna be honest, zombies actually terrify me. Like they're one of the things that actually, like, I'm terrified of. Mostly because if there was a zombie apocalypse, I would be like one of the first to like get eaten probably, or killed one of the things. So yeah, so they kind of terrify me, but this was a very good movie, even though if there was one character in this that I really didn't like, because he was pretty much responsible for all the other characters that I liked getting killed. So that was sort of the only real negative I had about this movie, but it was like very good, and yeah, I'm looking forward to revisiting this in October. So I got Train to Busan. So those were 3 for $30, and then the next one I got, it was a 5 for $55 deal. So I picked up 12 Strong. I thought this was a pretty good like war drama. Modern war films, I found I tend to vary in terms of how I like them, because I found if they tend to be set in Iraq, I generally don't like them for some reason. Like, I didn't like The Hurt Locker. I didn't like The Wall. I think that was what that movie is called. But then, because this one's set in Afghanistan, like, shortly after 9/11, and I thought this one was actually, as I said, really good. And I also really liked Lone Survivor. So, yeah, it's sort of a bit all over the place, but yeah, I thought Chris Hemsworth was really good in this, and yeah, sort of decided to pick it up to the collection. Like, some of it is actually, like, well, as you can expect from a war film, it's quite brutal in parts, but I thought how they told the story was done really well. So yeah, so that's 12 Strong. Then I went ahead and got Angels and Demons, which I have seen. I watched this, I think it was a couple of years ago, because I've since seen all the current films in the Robert Langdon series, because I've actually read all the books that that have been published, but I think I've heard that they're making a TV show of it. Like, it's an early, like, set in his early career, I believe. That's how I remember seeing the article about it. So that'd be quite interesting to see, but yeah, I wanted to go ahead and add this to the collection. It's very different from the book, which is actually what I found with these movies. Like, they're very different to how it happens in the book. But I did like this adaptation, but yeah, the book was like it's actually better. So yeah, so that's Angels and Demons. And then a movie that I haven't actually seen since I saw it at the cinema back in 2015, but I remember enjoying it, so I went ahead and got The Last Witch Hunter. You know, just sort of a fun action, like, I guess, horror fantasy film. I liked it. It's not the greatest movie ever, but I remember having a fun time watching it at the cinema. So that's yeah, so The Last Witch Hunter. And then another one, I did recently rewatch this, and I did actually like it more the second time I saw it, and that was Molly's Game, which is based on the story of Molly Bloom. And yeah, I thought this one was quite interesting. So it's sort of like how she became this big poker, like, she runs all these big poker tournaments, and yeah, and I thought Jessica Chastain was really good in this, and I liked is it Idris Elba. I thought they worked really well together, and yeah, I just thought this was yeah, quite a good, like, drama, and it's by yeah, Aaron Sorkin, like, from The West Wing. So that was sort of partly one of my interests in seeing this movie like in the first place. But yeah, it's I think with subsequent viewings I will like it even more than like, when I first saw it, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like one of my favorite movies and that. And then I wanted to revisit it, so, which I've been finding with a lot of movies, like when I saw them at the cinema, and it's been a while since I've seen them at the cinema, I have actually enjoyed them on subsequent viewings. So but yeah, so I did pick up Molly's Game, and again, another one that I saw at the cinema last year. I thought it was decent enough, like, I enjoyed it, and I wanted to revisit it, but I decided to actually watch it on Stan. This was on one of our streaming services here in Australia, and yeah, and that was Tomb Raider. I had a lot more fun with this the second time round, and yeah, so yeah, I thought this was so I haven't seen the Angelina Jolie film, so I can't compare the two, but I ended up really enjoying this one. I liked Alicia Vikander, is that how you say her name? I thought she did a really good job as Lara Croft, and I keep seeing reports that they're going to be doing a second one, but I'm not too sure. So I would have liked to have seen a sequel to this, so but yeah, that's Tomb Raider. And then the last one that I have was a 2 for $50 deal. Like, these were a couple of new releases that I wanted to pick up. And the first one is the Lego Movie 2, which I really enjoyed when I saw it earlier in the year, and I rewatched it, and yeah, it's just as funny the second time around. I'm not sure if I prefer this to like the first one, but I really do enjoy these like Lego movies, and yeah, I liked the whole like space element to it, and yeah, it was it's just a lot of fun like the first one. I loved the jokes, and yeah, it was like, and I sort of love all the different like like the meta jokes as well. Like, there's a lot of them in this one, and yeah, especially at the start. This is like when they insult, like what was it? Yeah, when they're calling Emmett, like, he was like, "Yo, you're such a Hufflepuff," and then it was then the jokes with the Justice League when they all left at the start of the movie, and then he's like, "Oh, Marvel's not returning our calls," and it's like, that was our last chance, and that I sort of loved how all that played out as well. And yeah, so I really enjoyed this movie. So yeah, that's the Lego Movie 2. And then I also picked up Mary, Queen of Scots. As said, I love period dramas, especially if they're to do with the royal family. So this is to do with the Tudor period with Elizabeth I and Mary, Queen of Scots, so obviously hence the title. But yeah, I thought both Margot Robbie and, is it Saoirse Rowan? Never been sure how to pronounce her name, but I thought they worked really well together, and yeah, it's an interesting sort of like with the power dynamic, and like, because you had sort of the two, like the Protestants, the Catholics, and like, because it was sort of a very interesting time, because Mary had a legitimate claim to the throne, and then you were like, people who were who were Catholics in Protestant England, they wanted her to and because she also had a son, and obviously at that like Elizabeth never had children, and yeah, it was sort of found the whole, like, with the power struggle quite in the politics, you know, and the court intrigue very fascinating, and I quite enjoyed this movie, so I wanted to go ahead and pick it up for the collection. So yeah, that's Mary, Queen of Scots. And then a movie that I was very pleasantly surprised by, because I wasn't expecting much based on the trailer, and then obviously it won Best Animated at this year's Oscars, and that was SpiderMan Into the Spider-Verse. I just had a lot of fun with this. I really liked how they told the different stories with all this, like, the different spider characters, and how it all came together, and how like the comic book style it was told in. I really liked that, and the visuals, and yeah, I just really enjoyed this movie. So I managed to grab it for quite cheap off Amazon Australia. So yeah, went ahead and got Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, so that one. And then unfortunately we came to one that was a blind buy, and I really didn't like it, and it's probably going to, I think it's a controversial opinion, because most people I think seem to have enjoyed it, but I'm talking about Us from Jordan Peele, which is a shame because I really loved Get Out and I was really looking forward to this. I just couldn't get into the story. I was bored and I didn't care about any of the characters and I didn't care what was happening, and it was a real slog to get through. Because I'm one of those people, like, I have to finish something once I start it. So, like, if I start a book, I have to read it all the way through, even if I'm not enjoying it. And same with movies. Because I really was tempted to turn it off, like, at the 1 hour mark, because it's a 2 hour, like, movie. And I was like, still got another hour to go with this. And, you know, that's never a good sign when you're like that. And, like, the cast was fine. Like, I didn't have an issue, with the acting. It was just the story and the characters, and yeah, it had an interesting premise, but I just couldn't engage enough to, you know, really care about what was happening. So I may revisit it in the future, since obviously I've bought it and but for now it's one that's not it's definitely not my favorite from this year. So which, you know, it's a shame because, as I said, really enjoyed Get Out and, yeah, didn't like this one that much. So that was Us. And then down to sort of the last two that I have to show. And the first one is Shazam, which I saw earlier in the year. Really enjoyed it, especially the ending, because so you know, if you've followed my channel for a while, you know that I'm a big Power Ranger fan, and the ending of this film gave me so much Power Ranger vibes. It was like so much fun, and I thought the overall story as well was like done really well, and I sort of loved the whole with Billy finding out about getting his powers and them working through it and finding out what he can do and stuff. This is like, it did have its, you know, dramatic moments. It wasn't all comedic, but I did appreciate this one for being, like, quite, well, I want to say light, because it does have some actually quite dark stuff in this, but it's compared to, like, the other DC movies, this one is practically light in comparison. So, yeah, I'm rewatching the DC movies at the moment because I'm up to Wonder Woman, so once I get through the last few ones, I'll be rewatching Shazam. So I'm really looking forward to giving this a rewatch. So, so Shazam. And then last but certainly not least, we have the last one that I got in the buy two get one free from JB, and that is it was also the only one out of that stack that I'd actually seen, and that was Vice. I was very pleasantly surprised by this because I wasn't sure, you know, a biopic about Dick Cheney. I wasn't sure how it would go because you probably gotten a hint of my politics in the thing. Like, I'm on the very opposite end of the spectrum in terms of where he stands on most issues, even though I will actually say, like, I did learn quite a bit about him in this movie, and he actually went up a bit in my estimation. Especially because I didn't know, like, one of his daughters is gay. I didn't know that about him, and how he responded to that, I was actually, like, very surprised, because I know he's, like, a staunch Republican, and, and that doesn't tend to, not to be, like, stereotypical, but that doesn't tend to, the image you have of that doesn't, like, you generally wouldn't expect such a supportive relationship, like, thing. And, you know, how that scene played out, I was like, oh, it's going to go this way, and then it actually didn't go the way I was expecting it to go. So, yeah, I was very surprised by that. And, I found this to be quite interesting, sort of like how he became such a political, I guess, force in the, like, with his, like, rise through the White House. 'Cause I think it was, he started out working for the Nixon administration, and then obviously working his way up to being vice president. Yeah, I just thought this was done really well. I liked how like the style of it as well. I thought that was done quite interesting, like the way it was told, and yeah, it was just a very interesting like film, and yeah, I enjoyed this one quite a lot. So yeah, that was Vice, and there we have it. That is all of the pickups that I got for July. I need to sort of rein in on my spending a bit because it's getting a bit out of control again, but yes, I can't help myself. It's, yeah, because I do, you know, I like spying movies and supporting like physical media as well, and even though I do like streaming and stuff, like to try and not blind buy as many movies, but sometimes I like to just go out and, you know, pick up a few movies that I haven't seen and sort of watch them, sort of like, you know, back in the day when, you know, I'd just pick up the most random titles and, you know, and watch them like that way without knowing anything about them. So, but, yeah, I think I'm just going to stop it here because I am rambling at this point, but, thank you guys for watching, and until my next video, I will see you guys next time. Bye!